Hi, everyone. I'm Amy, your host of Introspection, Grief to Growth. And today I'm going to talk about sleep and how sometimes sleep just eludes us just when it needs to be more present in our lives.
Welcome to Introspection, the podcast about moving from grief to growth. I'm Amy Lindner-Lesser, your host. Introspection started out as a podcast about hospitality, innkeeping, and innkeepers. After about a year, I realized that my life and interests have morphed from hospitality to helping others navigate from grief and loss to growth and living. In this new version of Introspection, I will be talking about my personal experiences with loss, and there are quite a few, what I've learned along the way through my professional training, as well as from my coaching experiences. I'll also be bringing in guests to share interesting ideas. So grab a beverage, find a comfy place, take a deep breath, and listen in.
Often one of the first things that we struggle with when we're going through a major life transition or a life quake is a disruption in our sleep pattern. We find it hard to fall asleep, to stay asleep, or to wake up. Sometimes we find it difficult to not sleep, that the depression that we have causes us to want to sleep even more. The problem is that it's really difficult to navigate crisis or trauma situations when we're not feeling our physical, spiritual, or emotional best. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what I do and some suggestions. And I would love feedback from you guys. Like, what do you do that helps you? So the first thing I notice when I'm having trouble falling asleep is I think about what the date is. What's today's date? Are there any dates that are coming up in the next few weeks that might trigger a difficult memory or a difficult feeling, such as the anniversary date of somebody's death? It could be the anniversary date of you losing your job. It could be something that's going on in somebody else's life that's triggering you. So think about whether there's a trigger date. And if there is, I say that's great. And the reason I say that is that at least now you have a specific reason. And that makes it a little easier. So failing a specific date or a reason, what can you do? And I am not a proponent of prescription meds, certainly not of non-substance or substance use, meaning drugs or alcohol or, and drugs, I mean legal or quote illegal. I believe that our bodies have the strength inside ourselves and that we have the skills to overcome this on our own. So here are some non-substance options to help you drift off to slumberland. Prepare for successful sleep. So that means keeping regular wake up and bedtimes every day, including your weekends. What starts to happen is your body starts to create patterns after you've done it for a while. For example, I've been getting up at 7 a.m. for the past 3.5 years. I now get up anywhere between 5 and 7 on my own most days. The days that I don't are the days that I didn't have enough sleep either that night or the night before, and my body needs extra sleep. It's a message from my body saying, you didn't listen to us, and you didn't go to bed on time. You stayed up late watching a movie, you stayed up late having fun with friends or reading, whatever it was, you didn't go to bed when you should have. So start with how much sleep do you need? And that depends on your age and your lifestyle. When you figure out what the optimal amount of sleep is, start creating a routine that helps your body begin to slow down and rev up. And there are lots of tools for that. My watch tells me it's time to get ready for bed a half hour before bed. It also wakes me up in the morning in case I don't wake up without an alarm. And there are others that will do the same. The next helpful hint is to use your bedroom as a sanctuary for sleeping and intimacy only. It means don't use your bedroom to pay bills. Don't go into your bedroom to specifically to read or to fold laundry or to iron. This way, when you go into your bedroom, your brain associates it with sleeping and you start to relax as you walk through that bedroom door. Exercise is a wonderful way to promote sleep. So add some activities to your regular daytime schedule. The best thing is to exercise more than a few hours before bed, unless you're doing something like yoga. Exercise tends to wake up your body and your mind. Now, exercise doesn't have to be physically exhausting or strenuous. Gentle walking will work. Walking also allows your mind to wander and to work on the things that are important to you that you may not be able to focus on when you sit at a desk or sit on your couch or are doing something else. Walking helps you, just like yoga, just like meditation. It helps you work on those things that when you're fully conscious, you're not doing. Listen to a book on tape. Listen to music. Find a trail in a park, if you've got good weather, to walk where the scenery is relaxing. And, if you don't have the ability to do that because of the weather or, the temperature or the snow, like I have right now, do mall walking. Go to a mall and walk around. Just make sure that you're not stopping at every store to spend money. Um, Malls have food courts, so you can reward yourself with a beverage, a cup of coffee, a soda. You can meet a friend either before your walk and walk together or meet them after your walk for the coffee. Make walking an activity that you look forward to. If you have a dog, bring it along. If you don't have a dog, borrow one from a neighbor. There's also walking, you can go volunteer. Volunteer at your local animal shelter. They often are looking for volunteers to walk their dogs. They need the exercise, and the staff may or may not have time to do that. So go ahead, volunteer. Make a dog in a shelter happy. And again, you don't need to be alone. Grab a friend, join a walking group for company as well as for accountability. I don't know about you, but I certainly do better when I have to be accountable for someone. Many areas have meetup groups that go walking. I know my area has a group that does walking and looking at wildflowers. They go to different places for their walks. And, it may even help you make friends and meet people who have similar interests. If you can do it outdoors, it's even better because you get the benefit of fresh air in your lungs. Try meditation or Reiki. Reiki is energy healing, and there's nothing bad that can happen from Reiki. It's either done by a Reiki practitioner who's been trained, or you can do self Reiki. You can find out more on the internet. Just Google it. Google self Reiki or try in Pinterest. There are tons of memes and directions on how to do it. Try meditation. If you're someone like me who says, I can't meditate, not really true. It's that we have an idea of what meditation is, and it's probably the yogi who's sitting cross-legged with their, on the floor with their arms in a specific position, and they have cleared their mind. Well, that's something that's very difficult for me. However, what I can do is I can sit on my porch or under a tree and just quiet my mind, pay attention to the birds, pay attention to the clouds. I remember as a kid in sleepaway camp, we used to have to practice floating. Little did I realize at that point that that was a form of meditation. I would lay on my back and float and watch the cloud shapes go past me. I wasn't thinking about anything else. And if something did come into my mind, it just as easily went out. And that's what meditation is. It's just not focusing on a specific thought or a solution. Try it. Try to eat a healthy diet. Trying to get to sleep if you've got heartburn or if you're feeling full, it's very rough and very uncomfortable. So try to make your diet full of foods that aren't too acidic or gassy. Eat a full 2 hours before bedtime so your body has time to digest your meal. It's also helpful that your meal isn't too heavy. And remember, we eat with our eyes first. So make your plate colorful using fresh fruits and vegetables. And make yourself a beautiful plate. It's important to stop caffeine, nicotine, alcohol, and even electronic devices like phones, iPads, smartwatches, and TVs at least an hour before bedtime. If you're someone who tends to wake up during the night to use the bathroom, try to stop drinking any fluids, including water, a few hours before bed so your bladder isn't full. Make sure you go and empty your bladder before you get into bed. It might give you an extra 30 to 60 minutes of sleep. Also, when you get back into bed after visiting the bathroom in the middle of the night, make sure you don't turn the lights on. It's important to have a small nightlight so you don't fall or trip. But other than that, you don't want something that's going to stimulate you and wake you up. When you get into bed, make sure to turn off all of your lights, except for maybe a motion sensor night light. Try to make it a non-blue light too. It's also best to sleep in a room that's well ventilated and cooler. I know that having heat tends to make us feel sleepy, but a cooler room helps us sleep and stay asleep. According to some of the experts out there, the ideal temperature for sleeping is between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. I keep my house at 67 degrees year round. Sometimes in the summer, I try to go up to save on my costs, but then make sure that I drop it down to 67 when I go to sleep. For many of us who were used to sleeping and sharing our beds with someone else, whether it was a human or an animal, sometimes when we have to get into bed alone, it's tough. Consider a body pillow to snuggle up with or a weighted blanket. I have a few of those items that you may be interested in on my website at introspection.com/resources. Check them out. Sometimes people take a t shirt from a loved one who's passed where it's either still smells from them or you have cologne that reminds you of them and put it over a pillow or a stuffed animal. If it no longer smells from them, spray it with their cologne. You could do the same thing with a bar of soap. If there's soap that reminds you of the person who has passed, you can rub soap on a t-shirt or even on a pillowcase. Put a bar of it inside the pillowcase or inside the t-shirt. I can tell you that every time I smell somebody who walks past me wearing whatever my husband's cologne was, it brings back memories of him. So here are some other suggestions for falling asleep when sleep is eluding you. Take a warm bath about an hour before bed. If you have Epsom salts, throw them into the bathtub. If you have bath bombs, throw them in. If you don't have a tub, you can buy the equivalent of a bath bomb for a shower. It's called a shower bomb. And what it is Epsom salts with other scents. So look for scents that are calming to you. Another suggestion is to start consciously breathing to slow your thinking and your breathing down. I like square breathing. And what you do is you breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, breathe out for a count of 4, hold for another count of 4. Try this for 5 to 10 minutes. You'll find that you're concentrating on your breathing and not on your thinking. Another thing is to repeat a mantra like, I'm getting stronger every day, or I can handle every challenge that's put in front of me, or my loved one and their name is with me in spirit and watching over me. I am safe and I am loved. When I was a child, I still remember waking up from um, a nightmare and not wanting to wake my parents. So, what I would do is I would start to say, I love my mother and my father. And I just kept repeating it. And before I knew it, I fell asleep and I wasn't having that dream again. Another idea is to try progressive relaxation. Starting with your toes, clench them by tightening the muscles in your toes, hold it, and then release. Do this for every area of your body, starting with your toes, then your feet, your ankles, your calves, your knees, all the way up to the top of your head. Another option does require a little bit more thinking, but it's not deep thought. So pick a letter and see how many words you can think of that start with that letter. If you're somebody that is not bothered by light, like I'm not, I can easily fall asleep in a bright room. Try a mindless activity like a very easy jigsaw puzzle or reading a book that doesn't rile you up, a non exciting book. Many people will have a book on tape or on Audible and set their timer for 30 minutes. So if they fall asleep, they know how far to rewind in order to get back to where they were. You can do this with your television. Pick a channel that plays oldies, especially ones that you've seen every single episode of. Then lower the volume, lie down, pull your covers up, and close your eyes. For me, I often fall asleep within minutes. Another option is to drink a glass of warm milk. It's not just an old wives' tale, it does help. And when all else fails, if you haven't fallen asleep and it's been 30 minutes or longer, get out of bed. Leave your bedroom and do something that doesn't activate your mind too much or stir up emotions, like reading, meditating, sewing, knitting, ironing, listening to gentle and relaxing music, or the like. Try self Reiki. Let me know what you find to help. What what things have been amazingly helpful to help you fall asleep? Respond to me here. Let me know what's worked and let me know what you've heard other people try that's worked for them. I'm wishing you sweet dreams. Go out and make it a great day. And remember that I appreciate you and I love you. And you've got the skills to get through this. I know it. See you next time.
If you liked what you heard on this podcast and want to hear more, please follow us and tell your friends. You can also find me on Facebook at Amy Lindner Lesser, Grief to Growth Life Coaching, and on LinkedIn at Amy Lindner Lesser.